Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat and I'll stick a couple of names up and we'll see where we're going. Emma G's in, as always, my biggest supporter. Budgie Burger, what about you, chum? Hasdax in third. Ugly Truths jumped in. Bass, what about you, chum? Martin W. Amanda Lee's all squeezed in. Excellent. Mannequin Skywalker, glad to have you aboard. It's Martin W again. Anglo-Saxon brother, what about you, chum? Martin W. Rory Herbert's telling me the audio's good. Linda Hunter is in from down under. What about you? Glad to have you aboard. And Amanda Lee saying she can hear me fine. Excellent. And what do you think of the new avatar? What do I think? Is it good? Edmund's here to listen. Quack quack, the ducks are in. Paul's in. Yes. Do we like the new avatar, people? I think it's quite snazzy. In fact, it's that good. I'm going to put up a larger picture of it, and then you can see the cogs that turn. 1 second. I just find this. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Share screen. Share screen. It's on a window. Bump. And there it is. The new avatar. When the hunters saying Chad. Here we go. We'll zoom this in. Oh yes, that's the cogs that turn. Paul saying the avatar is a bit king of the hill. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. I'm going to take it as one. The Terminator. Part man, part machine. No, mate. I got people off Fiverr to design it for me. Told them what I wanted, and I gave them the old crappy avatar as an idea. And they done that. So here we go. Go zoom in cogs in again. Paul's giving me a thumbs up. That's good. Linda Hunter, do I have tattoos myself? Yes. I have a horny devil on my bum cheek, and I have a lizard on my stomach, sort of just below my belly button. Mannequin approves. We're all good. So that's the avatar, and with the avatar, we also now have the ability to do branded memes. Budgie Burgers going with Joe 90. That works for me. Yeah. Bass the Fortinator. I like that. That's cool. Thank you. Yes, we now have the ability to do branded memes. So we'll throw one of them up for a moment, just while we're talking shit. Here we go. October, what about you, chum? Glad to have you aboard anyway, and you haven't missed much. Oh, fuck. Hold on, need to hide that. Had a meme up and you can't see the bottom half because it's got a comment covering it. There you go. Yes, so we've now got the 42 logo on the memes. So uh, if anybody steals my memes, they're still advertising me, so it's all good. Uh, it's a bit early in the stream to comment on that, but oh, we're keeping the fort. I quite like the 40 PDF thing as well. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Uh, Axel Vikings just jumped in. What about the chum? Let's see what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the housekeeping and do the shout outs with a couple of with a couple of bits of housekeeping to do tonight as well after this. Anyway, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Rags and Jack will be having a chat with Big Joe Marsh. So that should be good and interesting. 8:30 p.m. over at Scott's Armour channel. It's Sunday with the lads. So the Scots boys are back. I think they're doing once a month at the minute, but that's always a good show. John Davison uh, is currently doing Tuesdays and Fridays. He's been ill, but he is on the mend. Hopefully, be back to doing a bit more, but not until he's fully recovered. Glad to see that he's back and streaming regular and definitely heading in the right direction. There's a couple of other hellos. Matt D's just jumped in. What about the chump? 77 Brigade, welcome aboard. And the other thing I want to do a bit of a shout out for, as I have been doing for a while, is the. Where did that go? Oh, hold on. Right. Linda, send them an email. That's definitely not deliberate. The other thing you could do is go into your Google settings and check your ban list to make sure that you haven't banned him by mistake. As I had that problem with somebody. Um, you need to go to your icon at the top of your screen and check your Google settings, and there's a ban list in there, and make sure that you haven't uh, got mistakenly a ban going on in there as well. It's all a bit very weird. I think Google's behind half of these bans, but there you go. Uh, yes, the other thing I was going to say was the James Waffle House. Uh, See, I'm full of good ideas. Go in and check, and there's check the YouTube video of how to check what you've banned, because there's one that's very obvious and there's one that's a little bit harder to find, and you may as well. There's a possibility it could be any either of those. Deal's Waffle House, who streams every night pretty much at 8:30. It's a load of banter. It's a load of crack. And yes, Rags, YouTube does unsubscribe people randomly. Uh, it is what it is. Dio's been having a bit of bother trying to figure out what his channel actually is, because he goes on and what did Paul say? We can't mention online. All right. No, you cannot. You definitely cannot. You can't talk about that online. That's going to cause problems. Yeah, Dave's Waffle House. You've been trying to figure out what it is, and I have come up with a synopsis of what the Waffle House is. And here's what it is. See if you've ended up around this community because you're a Sky Watcher, or you're from the Truther community, or you're one of those people that used to be called a conspiracy theorist, now a fortune teller. If you've arrived in the places like this because you've figured out that the government has no interest in doing what's in the best interest of the people, or even if you're like me that ended up here somehow, I'm starting off by asking a very simple question like, why are there no shelters for male victims of domestic abuse? And you followed down the rabbit hole and you figured out that there are political leftist, communist, Marxist uh, people that have marched through the establishment, and they're sticking their political opinions into fucking absolutely everything. Uh, yes, conspiracy is the truth. See, we need to have a talk about this, Martin. Whenever you look at the box that tinfoil comes in, you'll find that it says aluminium foil. Now, tin that it was originally made from, that deflects radio waves. Aluminium actually attracts the radio waves, so we don't wear those hats anymore. Uh, so, but if you're from anything like that, we can't watch normal TV anymore. We can't watch normal light entertainment because we see the agenda that's being shoved into absolutely fucking everything. And we need somewhere to switch off. And I've seen comments in like Sansom Stream or Bonnie Lads or whatever prior to me coming on, people saying things like, no more black pills, no more black pills, we need a rest and whatnot. And what Dave does every night, 8:30, as he goes on there and there's waffle and there's chat and there's banter and there's a nice friendly chat, and you can take the piss out of each other the same way you used to, before everything got politically correct. So that's what the Waffle House is. It's a bit of a timeout for people like us. So you might want to get yourself into there. Just saying. Just saying. Just an idea. You want somewhere to chill out? That's as good a place as any to do it. Uh, oh, and Special Ken Affle. What about you, chum? Yeah, fucking. I know the feeling, David. I know the feeling. And the only thing is, like, particularly for what I do on a weekly basis, I do the research for this stream, which sometimes can be a pain in the bollocks. I'll talk about this more whenever I go to do the bit about the telephone uh, stream, but getting good fucking links for the history of our fucking copper telephone network was an absolute pain in the hole. I've got to do stuff like that. Uh, Northern Ireland, despite having a collapsed assembly, is having a consultation on their strategy for preventing violence against women and girls, which, by the way, is the same strategy it's used for all domestic abuse, uh, for like men like me. And so I need to get involved in that. It's going to be a shitload of work on that. Minimum 30 hours reading that draft proposals and putting in my response and whatnot. Uh, there's other different bits and pieces of projects I have. So for an hour or so a night, whenever I want to switch off, I plug in the Waffle House. And that's what I do. There you go. Something you might like yourself. The other thing I forgot to say was if you came here from Sansom Communion Stream with Toffee, uh, DJ Resisting Lies, and Mrs. DJ Resisting Lies, a very warm welcome to you. Glad to have you aboard. And if you're here and you don't watch Sansom Stream or the stream of Bonnie Lad, depending on who's hosting, before this on a Saturday night, you're missing out because if you like my stuff, you're also going to like their stuff. Yep, actually, that's spot on. Can't walk past the diversity billboards, let alone watch the TV without becoming apoplectic with rage. And we don't like getting full of rage. We don't. We need somewhere to switch off. We need a time to switch off, and that's very important. Uh, Waffle House is indeed a jolly mad lad. Right, something else. Yes. Okay. If you're going to send me an email, if you want to contact me, the link is in the description. Now, as I've just stated, I'd be very busy with doing stuff for the channel and uh, keeping up with the stuff in the men's rights world, with uh, trying to hassle the government and get better policies and stuff. Excellent stream, Toffee L10. Great job. You possibly got in just after I finished talking about that and saying that if you like my stuff, you're only watching Sansom and whoever it is, whatever he's doing before that, because if you like my stuff, you like ours. But that was an excellent stream. Toffee, well, good job, well done. Uh, Woodlanders then, evening, sir. Right, so as I was saying, I've got pretty much all that. See if you're sending me an email. See if you just send me like a video clip or something that might be of use for the stream or whatever. I'm probably going to reply that whenever I've got all the work stuff that I need done, for the week done, and that's probably going to be on a Saturday afternoon after I've posted the thumbnail for this week's stream. So if you're all good with that and you're just sending me something because you want me to see it and you're not worried about when you get a response, that's all good. But if you are looking for a response and you're sending that in for the start of conversation, please put a question in the email that would motivate me to answer it. And if you want to be a bit more blunt, and let's be honest, coming from somebody who regularly says that if you're looking for sympathy, you'll find it in the extreme between shit and syphilis, and we don't want any of that. Being blunt is probably a good idea with me. If you're wanting advice, help, assistance, or anything like that, stick something in the description bar like advice required, help. I'm in the shit. I don't really care what it is you put, but put something in that's going to motivate me to bump that up the list of priorities. Now, we'll get around to replying the ones that are just a video link or whatever. But if you're looking for a quicker response, put something in the email body or and preferably the description that's going to motivate me to put that up, because I would class something like that as the enjoyable bit of what I do. And in order to get all the stuff done that I must get done, I need to leave the stuff that I want to do to until that's done. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Uh, and we're all good. The, the email links, the email address is in the description for a reason. Feel free to contact me if you're needing a quick response. Let me know in the thing, and you'll get the quick response. All good. We landers then. Evening, sir. How's about you, chum? Um, George Orwell, what about you, chum? Glad to have you aboard. I think that's everything in the chat that I need to engage with, and that is all my housekeeping done. And so I'm going to begin with oh yes, there's something else I needed to say. Mr. DJ resisting the lies, who whenever it was said what my subject was tonight, and sent some stream, said yeah, him being a Highlander, he should be doing that type of a stream. And DJ, I've been asking you for a year to do this stream. I've said, let's get it done. Let's do the research. Let's get it done. And it came up that talk like feminism is the original artificial intelligence. It looks intelligent, but there's fuck all to it. There's no intelligence there. Oh, I just, brother, I just do a lot of research. I just do a lot of research. Yeah, but I'd say to the DJ, uh, come on, do this with me. You're a Highlander. Be good. Uh, Never to get around it. But let's have a bit of a look at the Highland Games. And as I was saying, with sometimes doing this research is a bollocks. The stuff that I got this time last year, researching this whenever I was originally going to do it with DJ, is all slightly different this year. Same historical events, the same things, but they've been presented slightly different. So there's been an edit in the Matrix, uh, which does boil my piss at times, but we've only got what we've got. Sansom is probably still in the green room with DJ, and Mrs. DJ post stream. Yes, white people. Nah. The reason why I'm doing it this week is this is the week of the Highland Gathering. Yep, here's a little bit of picture of the events. Why did that zoom? That is too much zoom. We'll go with this. Yep, this is the reason why I'm going for it this week. This is the week of the Royal Highland Gathering. I need to get a little bit of liquid before I start this reading. Un momento. The Royal Highland Gathering takes place in the first weekend of September each year, being Saturday the 2nd in 2023, also known as the Braemore Gathering after the small Scottish town that hosts it on the southern border of the Cairngorms National Park. It has been a significant feature of the Scottish sporting calendar for hundreds of years. Today's festival draws participants and spectators from across the globe. It is thought that the gathering began in the 11th century when King Malcolm Canmore visited Bermer and called upon the clans in the area to present their men to compete against each other to find the strongest, fastest, and most skilled warriors. The competitions of the days were brutal, often resulting in the death of weaker contestants, but this was followed by much feasting and entertainment from storytellers, dancers, and musicians during the evening. Despite the turbulent history, the gatherings have become a well established by 1800 and has been run in its present form since 1832. It is one of the few Scottish events which is regularly attended by the royal family, securing royal patronage after Queen Victoria first attended the Games in 1848. Since then, the royal family has visited the Games every year, with the late Queen Elizabeth II having attended the event since she was 7 years old. For spectators, the gathering presents an opportunity to eat, drink, and socialise, whilst participants present their skills in a variety of sporting events. I'm going to come back to that, uh, this bit about Queen Victoria and whatnot in a minute. I need to go back to the chat. Uh, Rags, uh, shout to Ragnar Ironspear. See the video of your brother playing the pipe drums, playing the snare drum for the pipes. Stick it in the chat for us, but if that video is on YouTube, and if so, would you please ping me that link on Telegram? Because I think I might actually use that if it's about. Uh, I'm sorry to give you this requested late, Matt. Very, very late order, but I never got around to the messaging you during the week. Sorry, brother. But there you go. No sense in now. Ragnar Sam all day. Excellent. What makes up the Royal Highland Gallery, the Havries? For centuries, the traditional caber toss, hammer throw, and stone putt, like the Olympic shot put, but with a stone or rock rather than a steel ball, have featured the Royal Highland Gallery, with athletes from all over the world competing to showcase their strength at today's games. Pipe bands and solo piping, also solo drumming. Uh, a Highland Gathering wouldn't be complete without music. The epitome of the Scottish culture, bagpipe bands are an iconic part of the Balmoral Gallery. For solo musicians, there are several categories in the competition, with junior and senior musicians taking part, and a special category for pipers from the local area who help keep this tradition alive in Scotland. Dancing. Highland dancing is one of the oldest forms of dance, and the dancing competitions have developed in the Scottish Highlands over the centuries. Accompanied by bagpipe music, these competitions were for many years dominated by male participants, but since the introduction of the airborne dress, which dates to 1867, female dancers were encouraged to take part, and the sport is now dominated by women and girls. Uh, my nieces uh, uh, pretty much all do Highland dancing. And yeah, we are in like Belfast, but Highland dancing's part of our culture. A lot of people I work with, not their kids, Highland dance. Uh, so, uh, so there you go. Uh, Track events. Like track and field events, you may find at modern Olympics, the gallery hosts running races, jumping events such as long, high, and triple jump. These events present some of the oldest competitions held in Burma and have taken place during the time of time of King Michael as he sought the fastest and most agile warriors from the local clans. Hill Race. One of the most popular events is a hill race sees participants from across the UK, including members of the armed forces and a significant showing from the running clubs from the Lake District, running approximately 3 miles and climbing 1,200 feet before completing a finishing lap in front of the Royal Pavilion. So that is the overview of the Bremer Gallery. I'm now going to go into excellent. Thank you very much, Sanson. Or Rags. My head's away with. Right, we're going to have a treat momentarily. Uh, right, I will do. Give us one momento. Uh, just while I check this out. Uh, right, we will do the other bit of Braemar. Right. Going to give our other bit of this is from Scottish at Heart. This is an overview of the games as they are in their entirety. More so. Right, 1 second. Share screen. Share screen. Sorry, just want to check this is what I thought it was. Right, yep. This is the bit I wanted. I'm going to zoom this in a little. Historians aren't certain of the exact reason for the first Highland Games, but it's believed they were used to find the strongest men for battle, find people to fill positions in the clan chieftain's household. These positions most likely included messenger or couriers, bodyguards, pipers, dancers, and entertainers. The that says she, it should be the. The first written reference to the Highland Games appeared during the reign of Scotland's King Malcolm III in the 11th century, which we heard before, where he called for men to race to the summit of Craig Connor near the town of Bremer in Aberdeenshire, which is Wetzer. Historians believe that King Malcolm may have been evaluating the contestants for the role of royal courier. The Couriers Games in Fife were born in 1314 after Robert the Bruce allowed the village to hold a fair and market in honour of the villagers and clansmen who had fought at the Battle of Bannock. These games hold the title of being the oldest continually active Highland Games in Scotland. Uh, the Celt connection we're going to skip over it because we don't really want to do Celtic bullshit, but these games are not Celtic. In the 18th century, the Lord of Clan Grant summoned the clan members, tasking them to bring also with gun, sword, pistol, and dirk, and a dirk's a knife, which indicates that whatever event were attended would involve testing their skills with weapons. In the mid 18th century, the Prescriptions Act were put in place by the British Parliament as an act for the more effectual disarming of the Highlands of Scotland and for restraining the use of Highland dress. This act came into effect in 1746 and sought to destroy the Highlanders' culture, traditions, and customs and way of life. That was in place until 1782. During this period, any Highland celebrations, traditions that were followed had to be done so in total secrecy and at great risk. While prior to the 18th century, the competition was more war games and less entertainment. As time moved on, the contest became less military and more fun with processions and parades, foot races, Highland dance displays, and marching pipe bands and vendors of all kinds. In 1838, Queen Victoria attended the Braemar Highland Games. Now, in previous stuff that I have seen, uh, Queen Victoria did more than just attend. She was the instigator for getting these games up and running again. Uh, for the first time, her royal approval and continued support led to the game's increasing popularity and established them a Scottish tradition, which has continued to grow and expand its reach. A tradition which continues today, with Queen Elizabeth II and other members of the royal family attending Scottish Games at Belmar regular. The Crow Highland Gathering at Dunnoy, Argyll, and Brutal was first held in 1894 and is, it says here not, but I'm going to believe that says now considered to be the largest Highland Games in the world. It's also home to the World Highland Dancing Championship, which is held in tandem with the Games. Thousands of people attend the Crow Gallery every year, and a good time is held by all. Uh, on an interesting little side note, in 1889, the founder of the International Olympic Committee saw some Highland Games events in Paris, and this inspired him to add the hammer throw, shot put, and tug of war to the Olympic Games. Tug of war remained an official Olympic event until 1920, and the hammer throw and shot put contests seen at the Olympics today have their roots in these traditional Scottish games. Although the games originated as athletic contests, this is still the main thing today. For centuries, they have been one of the biggest social events of the year, especially in the Highlands. Traditionally, they're family-focused occasion, with family members often travelling long distances to attend, acting as unofficial family reunions, much like the marching parades in Northern Ireland. The social aspects of the Scottish Highland Games make for a fun day or days out, and most everyone enjoys the dancing, singing, eating, drinking, and general catching up as much as the actual athletic events. Though it has always been tradition for the event participants and often visitors too to wear kilts, in 2013 the Scottish Highland Games Association made an official ruling that all competitors in the open heavy events at Highland Games were required to wear kilts. Uh, a little bit about the different things. The heavy athletic contests that you will almost see in the Scottish Highland Games include the caber toss, the hammer throw, the stone putt, and tug of war. The caber toss, the caber toss and the caber toss is probably the most well-known heavy lifting event at the Highland Games. It's a true test of balance, control, technique, and sheer strength. No one really knows for sure what the origins of the contest are. Some say it started out as a way for Scots to bridge a fast flowing streams or rivers using the materials at hand. Others believe Highlanders would flip huge logs up against castle walls as a way of breaching their defences during a siege. There are other, even more unlikely possibilities for the invention of the caber toss, but we'd probably never know which, if any, are the truth. There's a picture of somebody tossing a caber. The caber is a full length log, usually between 15 and 22 feet long and weighing between 100 and 180 pounds. The wide variation in length weight is because the length of wood is basically a tree trunk, and tree trunks do not come to a uniform size. Trust me, the European Union will enforce that. Your trees will be conforming. Traditional local trees are used to make the cabers for Scottish games, and either Scots pine or larch trees are common choices. Contestants have to lift the caber vertically, cupping the end with both hands. One end of the log is whittled down to a suitable size for this, and then hold it balanced against their body. Once balanced, the thrower has to run forward a short distance and use their momentum and upper body strength to literally toss this huge pole into the air, with the aim of sending it end over end in line with the direction of the contestant's run. The top end of the caber should hit the ground first, with the lower end then arching over and falling to the ground. The height and distance that the caber is thrown can look impressive, but judging isn't based on either of those things. Instead, it looks for the position the caber comes to rest. It's about getting that log to land straight. The aim is to have the caber land directly in front of the contestant in line with his run. To make this more clear, picture a clock face on the ground with the caber tosser having taken his throw while standing at number 6. Ideally, his caber would have landed at number 12, with the whittled down end facing away from him. And this fucking lunatic went to the wrong end of the clock. He should have started at 12 and had it ending at 6. And with this, my throat's going a little here. I'm going to see if I can get you a little bit of drumming entertainment. Just give me a momento. See if I can get this brought up. Just give me one momento, people. Right. Here we go. Pipe drumming is quite unique. It's also decorative. And Ragnar Annerspear's brother is a fucking world champion. And we're going to watch some of his work. Here we go. Yep, we're up. This is Rags' brother, and a little bit of pipe drumming, or pipe drumming. Here we go.
I'm not coming back down again.
There you go. That was Regs's cousin. That was fucking class. That was absolutely class. A couple of things I want to address from who was it? Somebody asked about kilts in Northern Ireland. Uh, Kilts are not really a thing in Northern Ireland, apart from when we do Highland dancing, because Highland dancing is a cultural thing in Northern Ireland. So is Irish dancing, because like everything else in Northern Ireland, we are segregated, and some of us do Highland dancing, and some of us do Irish dancing. Uh, and the Irish dancers, for some reason, were Celts, probably because they seen Ulster Scots people doing Highland dancing and thought, oh fuck, they were Celts, we were Celts, because they copy fucking everything in a poor manner. Exactly, Rags. It is our heritage and culture. Yep, it is absolutely class. Steve, did the music wake you up, chum? Uh, there you go. So there is a bit about the Highland Games, a bit about uh, the dancing and festivities, and a bit of the music and stuff. So that's you, Highland Games out. Uh, yes, right, we've heard this. Uh, Rory's son learned the bagpipes, and he played it on the flight deck of HMS Invincible as it's sailing in the Portsmouth Harbour to its decommissioning. Uh, now, what else do I have? Yes, very important bit of content coming up now. I mentioned last week in passing that Hawaii had a bit of an issue with some feral animals. And you know me, I like nothing better. I don't like to talk about things whenever I don't have all the facts, and I like to make sure that I present you with the facts and evidence. And here we go. We're now going to talk about Hawaii. This is true. This is not satire. Hawaii is waging a war on aggressive feral chickens, and the chickens are winning. Look, look at the evil thing. A world conqueror. I want to check and see if this needs zoomed in, and I believe that does. That's going to get some zoomage. Fuck, we'll do it again. Now, this is from 2022. It had been ongoing for a couple of years by this stage. Hawaii's ongoing battle with thousands of feral chickens continues, and the written testimonies and reports from local news outlets suggest it's not going very well. Unless you're a chicken. The Associated Press reported that in the past 2 months, the city and county of Honolulu set traps in 5 areas and have caught just 67 chickens, costing £7,000. That amounts to £104 per bird. The Associated Press says that catching the chickens is costly because the traps are being vandalised and stolen, though it's unclear who's damaging them and why. I'm going to give you an insight in that in a second. Now, city officials are trying to address the public's desperate pleas for help while figuring out a cost-effective solution. So it's really easy. See, Hawaii is governed by the Democrats, and they've got these chickens that are causing a huge problem. But they're Democrats, and the idea of just simply killing the chickens, you know, shooting them, because that would be relatively easy. That's a no-no. They have to effectively capture them. They have to humanely capture them. So they've put out all these humane traps where the chicken would walk in and the trap would close and you'd have a chicken in there in the morning. However, the people of Hawaii are also Democrats. And so they're on the side of the chickens and they think that catching them is inhumane. So they go around and they spring the traps. So the traps do not catch the chickens. And so it continues. The problem is so dire that a bill introduced in the Hawaii State Legislature sought to establish state-funded program to address the feral chickens. Unfortunately for UHA's chicken-plagued residents, however, the Senate Bill 2195 failed to advance. So they've got a problem with the chickens, but they don't want to do anything about it because they're Democrats. Well, hmm. According to written testimonies from Hawaii, individual individuals responding to proposals to proposed legislation recorded in early March, the aggressive chickens have overtaken the community. Residents say they're damaging and defecating on properties, obstructing roads, and roosting in the mango trees while making loud clacking noises from dawn until dusk. Many of us work long hours, even double shifts, and to not be able to sleep due to the cracking and crowing of the feral roosters and chickens has really been an unfair burden and hardship, wrote Hawaii resident Majid Jettle. From dawn to setting sun, there's a constant crowing daily, and I work from home, so it's hard and sometimes embarrassing. If I have to make a call to the mainland and it sounds like I'm in a barnyard, testifies Deirdre Garner, who supports the programme. It has never been like this before, and I am not sure how they got to this area. If for the food and then became pets, or they naturally transversed. Alexander Easton wrote that there are more than 100 feral chickens and roosters roaming the streets of Kakaloo Street and Lukawami Place. Erson has had to dodge them all over the roadway. Well, if you're in a car and there's chickens on it and the chickens are a problem, just an idea, people, run them the fuck over. Make that work? While residents like Murdoch Ozitz has watched them create havoc by jumping on garbage bins and ripping up trash bags, scattering the trash and debris everywhere. But the chickens aren't just loud and messy, they're destructive. Sharon Penner wrote that they dig up yards, statements, shoulder areas, and gardens, even foraging on their walls and sidewalks, seriously damaging the local infrastructure. This is insane and needs to be corrected, she emphasised. Community members also say that the feral fowl are now becoming a statewide problem. They have been here for many years, but the issue has gotten really bad lately, wrote Michelle Harmon. The populations are skyrocketing and they are quickly expanding their territory. Hawaii News now reported that city council members are currently exploring cheaper, more effective ways to extradite the birds. I think there needs to be more time really spent to find an appropriate location and see how effectively funds being spent are. Kimberly Herschel, Director of Department of Customer Services, told the outlet. We're actually obtaining quotes now from other vendors to see what they might be able to do. Hawaii News Now said that additional $50,000 in proposed funding for Ucher's feral chicken eradication program was approved for consideration and will be reviewed by the council on the 1st of June. Hawaii State Senate's Communication Affairs did not respond to Safegate's request for comment at the time the article was written. Now, so uh, what's been happening is Hawaii's been getting beat by chickens for like 3 fucking years, and because they can't take the appropriate and necessary measures to look after the surrounding area. And then people are surprised that they can't control wildfires. Just saying, maybe you need to get your shit in order. I'm just checking through the chat here. Here we go. That does seem to be all caught up again. Uh, let's see. What are we going to do now? Oh, yes. I think we're going to, we're on our end, I think we'll have a meme bridge. Let's have a look at one of my new memes. I can get, don't need that one. What do we think, people? Uh, might I just add at this point that the reason why I started doing this and started uh, even self, how's yourself? Yes, the reason why I started doing this was I would routinely get updates in Belfast about the Notting Hill Carnival, and I'm thinking, cook 'em Hawaiian style. Like, do you mean burn them to a crisp? Uh, yeah, I would get regular reports on the Notting Hill Carnival and told everything that was going on over there, and I wouldn't get any updates about any other events that were going on in Great Britain. And a lot of events in Northern Ireland didn't even get the same level of coverage. Uh, but this year I have had very little reporting about the Notting Hill Carnival. Uh, Mainly because if they were going to report upon it, they would have to report about the large number of stabbings. Uh, and so it seems things may have gone full circle where they no longer want to talk about the festival formerly known as the Notting Hill Carnival, uh, now correctly branded the London International Stabbing Festival. So there you go. There's my meme. Uh, oh, and if you want more access to the memes, you will find them on my. Uh, you'll find them on my Facebook page. That's where the memes tend to reside, and the link for that is, like everything else, in the description. Yes, the carnival has got a bit stabby, a bit rapey, and a bit twerky. Mostly peaceful carnival. Yep, well, there's that bit. 1 second. I need a bit more liquid. Uh, what else did I want to talk about? Yes, we have a new thing going on. Uh, in the United Kingdom, we have a bit of a change coming, and we're going to talk about that. I don't know that this hasn't been overly well publicized, but we're going to talk about it here. Just want to check. Yep, our size is fine. And this is coming from the government. It's a gov.uk link. So, yep, this is definitely true. It's from the government. UK transition from analog to digital landlines. What the retirement of the analog phone lines, also known as the public switch telephone network, PSTN, means for you. Telecoms companies in the UK are replacing the technology they use to provide fixed telephone networks, also known as landlines, for most customers. The upgrade is expected to be completed by 2025. Yeah, that date could be wrong. I think the switch off could be happening before that. In November 2017, telecoms industry announced its intention to retire the analog telephone networks, such as public switch telephone networks, by the end of 2025. The industry will upgrade landline services to new digital technology using an internet connection, such as the Voice over Internet Protocol, digital voice, or all IP technology. For the vast majority of consumers and businesses, this change will be straightforward. Nobody will have to lose their landline service because of the change, they say, as there will still be an option for landline only service should a customer not wish to purchase the general internet connection. Telecom companies will continue to be bound by the same regulatory obligations as they are today. The upgrade of the UK's telephone lines is not a government programme and does not result from a government decision or policy, and therefore specific questions about the upgrade programme, how the upgrade programme might affect you, should be directed to your service provider. 1 second, I need to cough. People, this stream might be getting cut short. I've been a little bit sniffly and coldy, and my throat is dying quite quickly. But I'm going to treat one as best I can, and we shall see. For most customers, this change will be straightforward, although the exact migration process will depend upon your communications provider and the equipment they use. If you already have an internet connection, the change may be as simple as plugging your phone into your broadband router rather than socketing the wall. Telecoms companies will contact their companies ahead of the migration taking place, so you do not need to take any action until the provider contacts you directly. You should look out for communication material from them and be careful not to confuse this with marketing material. Now, vulnerable customers. This is where it's about to get interesting. Ofcom, the independent telecoms regulator, has published a guide on treating vulnerable customers fairly and expectations on telecoms providers to ensure they support vulnerable or at-risk customers throughout the upgrade process to digital phone lines. Ofcom states the providers should take steps to identify at-risk customers and engage in effective communications to ensure all eligible customers are protected throughout the upgrade process. If you believe you or one of your relatives is a vulnerable customer or depends on a landline, you should notify your provider so that they can advise on how the migration could affect you. It is the responsibility of the provider to ensure that those who depend upon a landline are provided with a resilient solution that will allow customers to make calls to the emergency services in the event of a power outage, and the government is working with Ofcom to ensure this is the case. Devices connected to your phone line. If you have other devices connected to your phone line, such as alarm systems, telecare devices, or fax machines, you should take steps to ensure that they will continue to function correctly following the migration to digital phone line. You might need to upgrade your device to make sure it is compatible, check if it needs its own battery and network backup, or purchase an adapter to ensure it continues to function correctly. If you're buying a new alarm or device, you should check with the provider of the equipment that is compatible with the digital phone lines and will continue to run. If you are unsure about how a device in your home or business might be affected, we recommend you contact the equipment supplier or device manufacturer to find out whether it will remain functional on a digital phone line. If you are buying a new alarm or device, you should check it is compatible with a voice over internet protocol services. And as you can see, this all sounds like your usual government gobbledygook. It means nothing, it guarantees nothing, and it puts all the uh, responsibility on the private companies which are supplying the stuff, which means that everything in this document literally means nothing. But we will continue with the government advice. The analog landline carries a low voltage power connection directly to the telephone exchange, which is sufficient to power some basic corded handsets without the need to plug them into a wall. This means that in the event of a local power cut, these corded handsets will continue to function as long as the telephone exchange still has power. Digital landlines, however, cannot carry a power connection, which means handsets and routers must be powered from your home power supply, and they will not function in a power cut unless you have backup power systems such as a battery or a generator. Telecoms companies are required by Ofcom to take all necessary measures to ensure uninterrupted access to emergency organisations for their customers, including in the event of a power cut. Now, these lines are going to be working over the internet. If your internet service goes down, you have no phone line. You can't phone an ambulance, can't phone police. Uh, Maybe sending a carrier pigeon, but that fucking phone's not working. Uh, so there is that to worry about. In 2018, Ofcom issued guidance on how telephone companies can fulfill their regulatory obligation in light of the migration to digital landlines. The guidance was issued following a consultation with the general public. Now, see this phrase here. The guidance was issued following a consultation with the general public. Do you know what that means? You were all asked about this. Doesn't mean you heard about the consultation. Doesn't mean you took part in the consultation. But this is when they asked you about this in that consultation. And if you didn't notice it, didn't find out about it, didn't take part in it, well, that's on you, apparently. Because it was obviously really, really well publicised. As well as telecom providers and Ofgem looking at the data of the average length of power outages in the UK. The guidance states that providers should have at least one solution available. Let me read this again. The guidance states that providers should have at least one solution available. Now, if that had said providers must, then they would be legally required to do it. Should, not so much. Yeah, you probably should do that, but you don't have to. Available that enables access to emergency organisations for a minimum of 1 hour in the event of a power outage. Yeah, so for the first hour. Yeah. Parts of Scotland have power cuts for 3 days, but yeah, you get the first hour where you can phone somebody. Lovely. On the premises. And that this solution should be offered free of charge to those who are at risk as they depend on their landline. For most customers, telecoms companies recommend using a mobile phone as a backup in case of a power cut. But what if the mobile signal's out, chum? The landline is currently your backup to your mobile, not the other way around. If you don't have a mobile or live somewhere that there's no signal, because there are lots of places with no signal or poor signal, your landline provider should offer you a solution such as a battery backup unit. But if they can't get the internet, then it's not going to work because you're going to be sending the phone line down the internet. You absolute fucking wanker. This will mean that you can still make emergency calls during a power cut. It won't. In the UK, national roaming is enabled in order to make emergency calls. This means you can use any mobile phone network to contact any emergency service, even if you are not a customer. You may see messages, emergency calls only displayed in your handset if this is the case. If you don't have or want broadband, the Telephony Universal Service Obligation in the 2003 Communications Act means that all customers in the UK will still have access to a landline service should they choose to do so. Saying that, if you don't have broadband and you don't want high-speed internet connection, some providers will still offer the option to use a simple internet connection just for making calls. You still be able to have a landline in your home, but the technology that underpins it will be different. Are you sure about that? I'm not sure we want to read about businesses. Nah. What was the government doing? Although migration to digital is an industry-led initiative, the government is working together with telecoms industries to ensure all sectors of the economy are protected and prepared. 1 second. Sorry, I had to cough there. Although migration to digital is an industry-led initiative, the government is working together with the telecoms industry to ensure that all sectors of the economy are protected and prepared. This includes regularly engaging with telecom providers, tracking the preparedness across all affected sectors, and working closely with Ofcom. If you have questions about how the migration might affect you, the government recommends you get in touch with your telephone provider for further information because they will definitely not bullshit you. Uh, Ofcom, the independent regulator for telecoms, has also issued guidance on how to prepare for the migration. OpenReach has also published fact sheets for businesses who use phone lines to deliver service to help them understand how the move will affect them. Telecoms industry has also worked together with to create the Future of Voice website, which offers further guidance for both customers and businesses. This is all fucking lovely, is it not? Right, I'm going to drop that out. I want to check the chat. One in the chat if you have a landline. I'm going to have to put a 2 in there. I don't actually have a landline. I'm a bit pissed off about the fact that they're going away, but I'm just checking through the chat. I would suggest that. Right, sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. I think I have a 1970s rotary dial-up telephone in my house. It's true. They are the only ones that work during a power cut. Yeah, but Roy, in the next year or so, that's not going to be connected to any line. Observe them attaching wireless hub, think, to telegraph pole for landlines in the last few weeks. Not all poles have the black plastic dome shaped thing fixed to the pole. Now, what this actually means is, oh, I've got a picture. I do have a picture. Uh, share screen, window. Oh, I don't have a picture up yet. 1 second. I believe I will have a picture. Right. Okay. Here we go. Share screen. This will work this time. What this means, here's a nice little street in East Belfast. Uh, and I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but these poles they put in the street, and they bring a line, and that line goes to your house, and then it goes into the system. And those are all copper wires inside those lines. Well, they're stopping those copper wires working. That's basically what's about to happen. I'm not sure what they're going to do with all the poles. I am old enough to remember where, depending on exactly where you live, if you got a phone, I'll tell you what, it looks like Liverpool because right across the UK, they put in the same houses. Somebody built a mill or a factory or whatever, and the land around it, they built houses which they rented to the employees. And somebody worked out the oh yes, if they become obsolete, they're going on the bonfire. Yes, it does. Right. So here's what happened. People built uh, people built factories, and around the factories they built houses which they would rent to their employees. And somebody worked out the most effective way, the most efficient way to put houses into an area was in terraced houses, uh, 2 rooms upstairs, 2 rooms downstairs, outside toilet, yard, toilet as far toilet in the yard as far away from the kitchen as possible, uh, an entry between 2 rows for access for bins, and these houses went right across Britain. So that's why this looks like Liverpool, looks like Stoke, is in fact East Belfast. And I'm old enough. and there was few enough uh, telephones around that whenever my parents got a phone and there was like three people on the street that had phones, uh, they had to actually put the pull up. So yeah, I remember them doing that. They had to come and put the pole up and then connect the wire from the pole to our house. Uh, and during my lifetime, the wires being discontinued, which I find to be unfortunate. The other thing I will say is that in the 1970s, this particular street had three people on it that had cars, and we're not the same people that had phones, by the way. uh, my biggest thought whenever I look at the street is, how the fuck do kids have a game of Kirby there? Not a game where you have a football and you stand on opposite sides of the street and you throw the ball at the curb and it bounces back and you try to catch it. Right? You know, how the fuck do you play Kirby in that street? That indeed is a very good question. Yep, all the same houses, mate. All the same fucking houses. Uh, so yes, these copper wires are being done away with. Uh, we'll take that back out. And there's another bit of content I wanted to talk about on that. And yes, Emma G did take that picture for me today. Uh, I was driving the car, Emma G took the picture. Uh, your boy 42. Yeah, I don't think they're getting away with that. I don't think there's any type of ball getting kicked in that street anymore, which is indeed quite sad. Uh, right, yes. The other bit of content I was going to talk about this was, are there problems with the Switch? Indeed, there are. Right, I just want to check what this is looking like on the screen. Is it large enough? Yes, that's fine. This is coming from BBC. It's BBC News, so it's got to be totally true. Uh, Craddington Village fears isolation over phone lines. Residents of a remote village fear they will be effectively cut off if plans go ahead to switch off copper phone lines. BT is proposing switching off the Victorian era network across the UK, including Craddington, and move people to fibre. But villagers say they're worried that a poor mobile signal would leave them with no means of communication in the event of frequent power cuts. BT said it will work with residents to resolve the issues. The feeling in Cromsworth are echoed by other communities in Wales and across the UK. Cromworth is Wales's one of Wales's most remote valleys, about 16 miles from Aberystwyth and on an altitude of 300 metres. That is 985 feet above sea level. Poor weather conditions and power cuts are common. Villagers said that they were shocked when they found out BT was transferring customers to digital voice service, which needs an electricity supply to work by 2025. Resident Keith Hicks received an email notifying him of the change. which he says didn't make any reference to any of the disadvantages, except to say that in the event of a power cut, you'll have to use a mobile. He added, that's assuming, of course, that you've got a mobile and a mobile signal, which are which around here you don't. He said overhead cables for wind and the internet were often affected by strong winds, but currently the copper lines keep the village connected even when the power is down. Mr. Hicks says that it was fairly important in an emergency, which he crucially found out himself recently. Just over a year ago, I had a heart attack, completely unexpected. Was it really? Luckily, I had a phone line at the time and was able to call the emergency services, but it did make me wonder what would have happened if that had not been the case. Another resident, Sally Netherfield, said, if something happened, and it doesn't need to be the most desperate emergency, if somebody broke an ankle, did something like that, if you can't get a phone, you can't get help. We're very high, so we get a lot of wind, rain, and snow often, she added. We can be cut off for days, but the emergency services have enough of a job getting through to us at the best of times. If you can't even get hold of the emergency service, it could be an absolutely disastrous for people. But Ofcom's head of regulatory affairs in Wales, Eleanor Williams, said the network needed to be upgraded. She said, the copper network has reached the end of its journey. It's old and very expensive to maintain. The change from analog to digital will see customers benefiting. Not whenever it doesn't fucking work, they won't. She said customers would have a better sound quality and there would be fewer nuisance calls and scam calls. Really? Really? You think connecting it to the internet is going to reduce the amount of nuisance and scam calls? You absolute fucking wanker. She said, there will be occurrences, especially in the middle of winter, with the windy storms we're getting at the moment, where electricity supplies will be down and people have to depend on the copper wire connection for all their phone to continue in these circumstances. Currently, we don't know enough about any backup solutions, and we need to have BT and Ofcom out in these communities providing advice and assurance to everybody that it can be done by 2025. If they can't do that and provide that confidence, then they'll need to delay the 2025 date. But they can't because it's being cut off across the whole of the UK. Not bit by bit, they're just turning the bastard off because they can't leave communities and people without access to communications that everybody knows everybody is reliable on these days. BT said it was incredibly sorry to customers in Clonsworth who have been disconnected in recent storms. It added, we recognise the move to digital voice as a concern for a small amount of people who believe that they are in a coverage not spot. A coverage not spot? Or a high risk power cut area. Where this is the case, we will pause our upgrade and will work with them to resolve the issue. In other words, you're kicking that can up the road. Meanwhile, Openreach, which is owned by BT, has announced it will create about 250 jobs in Wales in 2022 and part of its investment in the broadband network. Oh, well, fuck. 250 jobs, everything's going to be fine. They can fix the wind, surely. Openreach says new recruits will include more than 200 apprentices. Yeah, I see there being problems ahead, people. Don't they know copper is killing the planet? It probably is. Yes, October. Just move to a smart city. That would solve it all. Yeah, so uh, I would say, not that I'm, yeah, this is just another thing to move people out of the rural villages into the cities and stack them person upon person, cram them in, and yeah, there we go. We'll cut off the rural people and that'll force them into the smart cities and we'll turn it into the green and pleasant land. Uh, so there you go. There's one thing. This is getting, I'm sorry, people, this is getting cut a little short tonight because my throat's fucking going and you can probably hear it in my voice. But there's one story that I had and the thing that I definitely want to cover. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to open it up for a little bit. Uh, Let people come on, and then we're going to knock this off. Right. Unfortunately, the best, most complete thing I found of this was from the ancient origin site, uh, which says a lot about our news coverage and stuff. And that's still looking a bit small. Uh, I'm going to zoom this in. I'm going to zoom in again. Right. This is an ancient burial mound in Wales. Dates the 250 BC or thereabouts. Attention seeker destroys ancient monument and posts sack on Facebook. It is disheartening to read about another Bronze Age cup and ring marked stone being destroyed in Wales. However, this story reaches a new level of repugnancy because the 52-year-old vandal filmed himself destroying the 4,500-year-old still standing stone as he posted it on social media for likes. Filming oneself destroying archaeology is an act driven by a mixture of misguided motivations, but in this case, the cultural vandalism, vandalism was an act of attention seeking. Actually, we don't quite know that because he hasn't said why the fuck he done this. Such acts can lack from a lack of understanding about the historical and cultural significance of archaeological sites and a disregard for preserving our shared human heritage. But in this case, the man filmed himself, seeming to garner, garner attention on social media. Getting back to the early Bronze Age, 250 BC, the buried monument was situated on Eglwysilan Hill, a 355 metre, 1164 feet, high rise in Clifford County Borough, South Wales. The two large sandstones featured a shallow cup-like depression surrounded by concentric rings etched into the surfaces. While these stones are found across the British Isles, the purpose of the cups and rings remain the subject of speculation. So this is the stone as it was, and it was sort of partially covered by this earth. And what this wanker did was he started digging out the earth around it and exposing the lower bits. Many researchers believe the cup and ring marks hold religious and ritual significance. However, others suggest they belong to astronomical or navigation systems, serving Bronze Age communities as territorial boundaries or marker or route markers. This theory was championed by archaeologist Ronald Morris, who suggested the cup-like depressions could have held oil, which could be satellite, creating ceremonial or ritualistic illumination, or perhaps guiding distant travelers. That actually sounds like a pretty good idea. Because if you had them across a stretch and they're on the high ground, and you set those on fire at night, you've just got to walk towards the light and you'll end up where you're supposed to be going. That's that sounds good. A BBC article explains that Julian Barker, 52, of Observoir, California, posted a video on Facebook showing himself deliberately separating a rock art panel from the stone, irreparably damaging the artwork. A spokesperson for the Welsh Government Heritage Body said Barker ruined part of the artwork beyond repair and that it is now lost forever. And while some evidence of the cup and rings remains, the significance and value of the monument has been significantly diminished. And here's a tweet of what the fucker did. Dug all the crap out round it, and you can see the stone that hasn't been exposed to the elements and the bit that has. And there's the wanker himself. Barker admitted deliberately exposing and damaging the Bronze Age monument, and he was charged in Newport Magistrates Court for having damaged the ancient rock art. For his attention-seeking crime, Barker was instructed to pay 4,400 compensation and was given a 4-month custodial sentence, suspended for 2 years. So he's not actually going to jail. If he does it again, he goes to jail, which I believe would put him off. But I think for damaging something like that, you probably do need to be doing a bit of time in the neck, which would definitely put other people off. Uh, Barker's prosecution represents the first of its kind in Wales under Section 28 of the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Areas Act of 1979. While £4,400 sounds like a lot of cash, it represents only £1 a year since the monument was carved. Yeah, I don't think that's the best way of explaining that. Those in favour of deterrence may agree that fines closer to £10 a year would help protect ancient monuments. And if criminals can't pay up, then perhaps they could serve a year in prison for every millennium of the heritage they destroyed. I think somebody's getting a little bit nuts with how to figure out what about how much does it cost to put it back to the way it was as best you can. That not be the way to go about that. Now, this is a bit that interests me. The UK is cursed with vandalism of archaeology, stemming from ignorance about the significance of these sites. Well, and the ignorance of the significance of these sites is fueled by the lack of education about them whenever people are in fucking school, because we do not teach about British history, culture, and traditions. Fueled by a lack of, which means that wing nuts like me on a Saturday night on YouTube need to fucking try and fill that void. Sorry, I shall stop ranting. Fueled by a lack of awareness and respect of the nation's cultural legacy. Another recent example of willful vandalism of archaeology in Wales is a case of Mea Lin, a Bronze Age standing stone marked with cups and rings situated between Hollysennel and Urstave. In 2020, Wales Online reported that the iconic 3.7 metre, 12-foot, 14-inch standing stone had been spray painted with a smiley face. Natalie Ward, Heritage Officer for Bracken Beacons National Park Authority, said, "The person who did this may think it was a harmless fun, but archaeological sites like Marilyn are fragile and causing damage to a scheduled ancient monument is a criminal offence. The mental condition that leads individuals to vandalise archaeology does not have a formal psychiatric diagnosis. It does, it's called being a dickhead." but it could be associated with various psychological factors like impulsivity, lack of empathy, sensation seeking tendencies, and a disregard for social norms. Well, and the consequences of one's actions. It could be that nobody during their entire lifetime took the time to explain to them what these things are and why they're important. Because British traditions, history and culture is not something that we put a value on. Maybe could you try that? Could you try teaching about this stuff in primary school? Could you try teaching about it in secondary school? Could you try explaining how old these are, how important they are, and not to fuck with them? Try teach that whenever they're still children and have the ability to understand it. It's got to be better than fucking teaching them about fucking whether or not they can be whether men can be women, women can be men, and anybody can be a cat. Have you considered that? But when this behaviour is posted to social media, like Julian Barker did, it suggests a need to feel powerful or a deep desire for attention, which he is now getting. Yeah, but he hasn't said why he did it. So there you go. Now I'm going to check the chat. Yep. Oh, yes, we'll get a new one on the DSM. Now, I'm going to copy that. If anybody wants to come on for a chat, now would be the time to do it. Frank O'Brien hits nail on head. State school not created for getting knowledge leading to wisdom. No, it is not. There is none of that going on in state school. It's not even really going on in private school either, to be fair. And yet, Ashley Perrin got Sharp got 8 years in prison for having a Section 28 document on his computer, which he never accessed. Yeah, this is true. It didn't mention anything about whether or not he'd actually accessed it. Mr. Herbert, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, 42. Can you hear me?
Yes, coming through loud and clear. How's yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good.
Yeah, that thing you just put up on the screen. Yeah, he was an ex prison officer, and he's put away for
Yep.
8 years in prison. Did you
Yes.
hear about that?
Yes. Now, here's where it gets interesting. He had a book that was likely to be of use to terrorists.
Yes, I forget the exact name of it, but it was
Yep.
some.
Oh,
It was
well,
meant to be some right wing
well,
manual.
they didn't name the book.
It's actually it's they did. I'm gonna have to look it up. Yeah, give me a few minutes,
Yeah.
or a few
Oh,
seconds. I'm
work away.
sure that because there's a. Uh, Hold
You
on a
may
minute.
have
Here
seen
it
it.
is.
You may have seen it somewhere that
Uh,
wasn't the news report.
no, there was a. Oh gosh, here we go. Uh, they published the sentencing remarks. My
Yep.
voice, sorry, but sentencing remarks of the judge. Um, did they mention it in there? There was. Oh, yeah, here it is. White Resistance Manual. Yep, that was the
Right.
document.
The document was a White Resistance Manual.
That's what it was called, yeah, or WRM for short. But apparently he never accessed it. They found it on his computer.
They found it on his computer, but he had not.
Accessed it, and the solicitor defending him said, "No, I can prove that he's never actually accessed that document."
Right.
But even so, the judge made up his own decision that this was a dangerous person and should go to prison for 8 years. I mean, it is extraordinary,
Right. Okay. Now, this is about to get interesting. So this is what I've found out about the book. Now, this is crap of shared the wrong string. This is from Wikipedia, so this is debatable. Probably going to be a little bit ideologically driven, but the White Resistance Manual is a white supremacist handbook which is similar to the Anarchist's Cookbook. I've never heard of anybody being jailed for having the Anarchist's Cookbook, and that is actually available to buy in shops. It promotes the founding of small, independent white supremacist cells and is also an instruction manual on how to perform illegal activities such as weapon making and terrorism, in addition to violent guerrilla warfare against the government. The book was popular with neo-Nazi websites until it attracted media and law enforcement attention, causing many sites to take it down. Anarchist activist Serena Austin said of the book, "There's something on the internet called the White Resistance Manual. It's pretty much for white supremacists to carry out large-scale guerrilla campaign through the means of assassination threats, obtaining funds through fraud, everything from firearms to explosives. I've seen, not surprisingly, no action taken against these people, but I am here on an anarchist website, not even close to what that is, not even close to what you can find on the internet." Uh, Obviously, I'm not going to go and seek this out and read it because that seems to be a pretty dumb idea. Uh, but uh, yeah, I think it's probably something that's no different from the Anarchist Cookbook.
Well, you definitely don't want to download it, 42,
Yeah,
onto your computer.
no,
Otherwise, you'll have probably 12 years in jail. But
yeah.
I mean, what
Linda,
is so
Linda, if you haven't heard of the Anarchist Cookbook, it's basically a book that teaches you how to make things like pepper bombs, improvised explosives, this, that, and the other. It's pretty easy to get a hold of, but I don't think anybody's getting jailed for having it because, well, anarchists are good.
well? 40. I mean, the ridiculous thing about this is that apparently, I mean, both those books, they're easily available on Amazon. So, if counter-terrorism, they want to arrest people for having a copy on their computer. I mean, why don't they just go to the government and say you can't sell that in this country? But why don't they do that? Because I think they're trying to catch people out first.
Well, I I think they didn't like this guy and they found a reason to take him down.
Well, there was another thing I said that the document's quite long, but
Yeah,
he also ran a thing called the White Stag Athletics Club,
yeah,
which was, again, his defense said it was a self-improvement group, which involved a group of white men coming together to overcome internal challenges in their lives in order to make the lives of themselves and their families better.
yeah.
Well, the judge went, in terms of your culpability, you were not in the two extremes postulated. You had to set up the White Star Club for a criminal and terrorist purpose, in my judgment. Well, come on, how can a judge possibly know what this other man is thinking? This is what annoys me about the
Well,
justice system today.
well,
They make up their own minds without no jury. It's just right, you got 8 years in prison. That's it. Boom.
this is actually quite worrying because, right, there for quite a while, any men self-help groups have been sort of run by feminists, and they have been aimed at uh, changing men's thinking to uh, it's really hard to explain. Yeah, make them hate themselves, make them hate white men, and uh, believe that white men are an original sin and are responsible for everything, and they must do something to atone for it. I don't know what this guy was doing. You would need to actually have interact with him and the group, but there is a
I,
possibility that he was just telling them that it's okay to be white and it's okay to be a man, and let's work together and try and improve ourselves. But you're never going to know what the actual fact of the matter is, because it's going to be fucking, yeah, you're only going to get what they have decided you're allowed to hear. Uh, but there's definitely something about this thanks to high heaven.
oh, definitely. I mean, this man, he was a prison officer, whatever you may think about prison officers, never mind, but I think they have some sense of duty. He was also a Christian. The judge turned around and said, well, you may have been a Christian, but obviously you hid your real neo-Nazi beliefs from your bishop or from your priest. It's unbelievable what this judgment was.
Yeah, you would need to have sat through the entire trial and heard his defense, but there there is a very strong possibility that this guy's done nothing wrong, but what he has engaged in is something that the orthodoxy don't like, and they have decided we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, I tell you what I'll do for you. I will send you the judgment.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I know Toffee's asked me for a copy, and as soon as he gets in contact with me, I'll send him one too. But no, I'll send you.
yes,
It's worth a read. I mean, obviously not now, not
yeah.
tonight,
Oh,
but
yes. This is something I'm going to dig into during the week, and I'm also going to see how much of the transcript of the actual case and his defense is available to see, because I would be quite it would be quite interested in finding out what the fuck actually did happen here. But
well, I don't have. I mean, all I have is
yep. Oh well.
is
Yep.
judgment.
You
Um,
send me what you've got. I can read that and then use that to see if I can dig any deeper and find anything else.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, I think it's worth doing because to me,
Yep.
it's outrageous. It's an outrageous travesty of justice.
Yeah, we're supposed to have open justice on the basis of the facts, and judges should not be able to make sentences just based on their judgment. Now, there is a thing where you can complain to the court, and anybody can do this. If you think that a sentence is either unduly lenient or unduly harsh, we as people can complain to the court and say we think there's something wrong with this judgment. Uh, now, obviously, I 100% believe what you're telling me. I'm not, but I would need to read a bit
But
more
read it.
before I.
No,
I
absolutely. Yeah, read it for yourself.
yeah,
42.
and also I would need to try to dig in and find out what his defense was. And I would be definitely considering uh, putting on a complaint about the sentencing because this does seem like it's fucking way. Well, even even on the face of it, you've
Well, I'm
got
sure
this. This book's found its way. This
I'm
book's.
sure he can appeal it. 40.
Mm,
Sorry to interrupt. I'm sure he can appeal it, but then that's a cost. There is a GoFundMe or something like that trying to support him because he's married with two very young children, and they've got nothing to live on.
yeah, he sounds like a fuck. So hold on, he's a Christian running a gym and self improvement thing with a wife and two young children. He
Exactly.
sounds, yep, he sounds incredibly radical. You know, just on the face of it, you know, it's exactly the type of person that you would expect to be plotting the overthrow of the government.
And terrorism. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the just the sniff test alone is this is fucking bullshit.
Well, I agree.
Um, Now, here's an interesting one. Approximately 2 weeks ago, somebody that works for the police service of Northern Ireland had a freedom of information request, and in the response to the freedom of information request, they gave them the names of all the police officers. They give them the ranks. They give uh, partial locations. There was a whole shitload of evidence that turned up on the website in their answer. And there has been uh, at least one uh, person that had downloaded the information off the Police Service of Northern Ireland Freedom of Information response site. And those people, that person, is being done for having information that's likely to be useful for terrorists. It's basically the same offence that this guy has with a book that he never accessed. Except what the person in Northern Ireland has is something that can help them compile a list of people to target. Right now, see the person that uploaded the information to the site, they ain't being charged. And as far as I'm concerned, they're the person that provided the information. But yeah, no charge for you.
No, yeah, that's of course that's correct. Yeah, those who upload it they should be prosecuted for it
Yep.
because it's so easy, to be on the internet and just click on something that you didn't mean to click on, or even if you meant
Oh,
to, you didn't
oh
know what
well,
was involved,
the the guy
and suddenly,
the guy that's been charged that has the information. Let's be clear, he is a terrorist, right?
okay,
he he's connected to all sorts of shitty shit. He is an Irish Republican Army or Irish National Liberation Army terrorist. He's one of those two, and he is rightly being prosecuted. But he only got the information because somebody from the PSNI uploaded it to a public page. Now, I don't give a flying fuck if you put that information up there by mistake. My personal opinion is the person put it up on purpose, knowing that it would be disseminated uh, under the guise of a mistake. But they should have known that is information that you do not just put in the public domain in Northern Ireland. Uh, at a time whenever police officers are being targeted. Uh, and I don't care if it was a mistake or not, that person should be prosecuted under the same law because they have provided information to people that is of use to terrorists. And the prosecution of this guy with a, that somehow had a book on his computer that he never fucking accessed, that's there's something wrong. Something very, very wrong.
Well, as I said before, I'll send you the document.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Have a look through it and make up your own mind, because I think it's an important topic, and maybe you can talk about it later.
Yeah, I'll read that. I'll read that tonight. During the week, I'll see what other information I can get, and I'll definitely be talking about it next week. It's a duck you don't. You don't make a mistake of uploading police officers' names in Northern Ireland. That's just something you don't make. Oh fuck. Well, there was a couple of senior police officers that put notes that involved names of serving officers and stuff on the roof of a car and then drove off. And those notes went fucking everywhere and are turning up. Uh, it's fucking the level of stupid in the police service in Northern Ireland has gone fucking mad. Oh fuck. It, the level of madness is in this country is it's gone beyond. We are beyond fucking we are beyond crime world.
Oh,
Right, Rex has got it right on. The Keystone Cops, they are indeed. It's fucking mad. Ugh. Other than that, what's going on in Rory world?
oh, not a great deal. I've taken my Morgan motor car off the road for the winter, which I do to save tax, because
Yep.
it costs me about 20 quid a month in tax, and I hardly ever drive it in the winter. So,
Did
what
you?
else?
Did you get a summer where you are?
Oh yes, yeah, not bad. Yeah, I'm in southwest England, so yeah, we had some very good weather in June and July. But not bad this month actually. Talking of good weather, but
Yeah. So you were able to get the Morgan out and about?
I was indeed. Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah. We. I think we had 2 days this year of weather that you would say are similar to summer.
Oh
Uh,
really?
yeah. In Northern Ireland, we have had rain every day from uh, the end of May, or sorry, about the second week in June.
Oh, so you're a bit like the Isle of Skye.
Yeah, but I know
A friend of
Regs will tell you. I joke about our weather and I say that we have liquid sunshine, but holy fuck, normally you get uh, at least 2 periods of a week where it's dry, and if you go to a forest park or whatever, everything's dried out because we haven't had rain for a week or whatnot. But that has not happened this year at all.
Well, there we go. What else has been happening in my life? Oh, my son, I have to tell you this. This is absolutely crazy. He's just been offered a job in Saudi Arabia
Oh,
for for the biggest oil company in the world. And it's unbelievable. what he's been offered. And I've said, look, Henry, you know, you just got to take this job. I mean, that is crazy money. So he's got to give 3 months notice to his current employer. And it looks like he'll be off to Saudi Arabia in the new year.
Very good. Yeah, that does sound good. I'm pleased to hear that. Yeah, Reg is saying,
I'll miss him, obviously, you know.
yeah, but no, opportunities like this can be life changing, and you got to take them while they're there. Regs is just saying, I pissed down here on the 12th of July in Ballymoney. Mate, it was fucking torrential in Belfast. Absolutely torrential. Uh, it, I'll tell you, I normally go and watch the 12th of July parade on the way out going and the way coming back, and I never even went to the return journey this year because it was just fucking torrential. Uh, it, this is the worst weather we've had in years. But yet, with all, we keep getting told that the world is boiling. Um, I'm trying to figure out these bastards ever go outside. Yep. So he's away off then in the new year.
Well, that seems to be the plan at the moment. But it's like he gets, I think, 38 days holiday a year plus another 13 days, which are like Saudi Arabian holidays. The only problem with Saudi Arabia is that he can't practice his Christian religion. He has to go to Bahrain to do that. So you have to buy a car and that sort of thing. But anyway, that was kind of my news of the week. I think.
So is that even in because obviously they have areas where they have Western workers in Saudi Arabia, so they're not even allowed to practice religion in those areas where, because I know that there are areas set aside for them where they're allowed to drink alcohol and stuff, which is haram, and they're not allowed to do in the rest of Saudi, but they'll allow a bit of alcohol, but they won't allow religion.
Well, this is in a place called Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, and they have their own compound. And
yeah,
I was watching a video of it the other day, and I mean it's all built by this company. The whole thing is they host all their employees there, most of them, and everything's in English, as well as Arabic. So it's like you don't have to learn Arabic to go, there to work. But to answer your question, no, there are no churches. No.
Right. Okay. That. So I only ask that. It's a new bit of information to me. Obviously, I don't know a lot about because I don't really know anybody that has worked out there for any length of time or anything. And to be totally honest with you, the people that I do know that would have went out there, they wouldn't have been going to a church whenever they're here anyway.
Well,
so
it's all news to me. 42. I mean, this only happened in the last week or so. So obviously, we've been talking about it and looking into it, but it's pretty good. They pay his flights back to the UK. Four flights, I think, twice a year. That's all included. It sounds like a pretty good job to me if you can live there. But he's 32. I don't mind saying that. And that's the time. Why not? Just do it, my son.
Yeah. Go make your money and come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, 42. I think that's all I really have to say. Do you have anyone else who wants to come on?
I don't know. I'm going to put the link in the chat again. Anybody else wants to come on? You've got 3 or 4 minutes to decide to jump on. And if not, I'm going to wrap this because my throat's going. And you might think, Rory, thank you very much for jumping on. And that was a nice conversation. Quite interesting about that guy that seems to be put in jail for being a white
Well,
family orient.
having the
Yeah,
wrong opinions, basically.
yeah.
Yeah,
It seems eh, on the face of it, uh, he looks to have been put in jail for being a white family orientated Christian.
exactly. And of course, a nationalist, the evil nationalist.
Yeah, because you know why, you know, heaven forbid people start to want the best for their own country and wanting the best for their own people. Like that's some real radical stuff there. You know, how did we ever get to this? It's mad.
It is madness. It's absolute madness. It's okay for Japan to do it, and China to do it, and Korea to do it, but no, not the United Kingdom. Definitely not.
Well, not any white Western nation.
Not exactly. Yeah, it was a
We
better explanation.
uh,
Right.
it's fine to be pro-Japanese if you're Japanese. It's fine to be pro-Pakistani if you're Pakistani. In fact, it's fine to be pro-Pakistani if you're English.
Scottish.
Once, yeah, well, no, well,
Humza.
right,
I'm looking
but
at Humza.
yeah,
Musa.
yes. Now, cricket
Swearing
England,
in, swearing into the Scottish Parliament in Urdu.
yeah,
I
oh,
mean, please.
cricket England have a problem, right? Because they get all these kids in and they teach them cricket, from child up to like 16, 17, 18, and they're starting to get them into the county teams and whatnot, and they want them to play for England. And they're like, yeah, no, I want to play for Pakistan. I want to play for India. Uh,
But
and
yes, I mean,
but
they
the
do,
but the
they do, they, they do tend to be quite good cricket players, the
yes, they do,
Indians
but
and Pakistanis. But
yes,
the one thing they don't play soccer or football, I should say. They certainly don't play rugby football.
yeah, but these are English kids born in England. These are kids born in England, of Pakistani or Indian descent, right?
Yeah,
That have went to all the cricket England training, good enough to get themselves into the county teams and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, no, what's this England business? I'm Pakistani, and that's fine, but uh, you start saying, yeah, no, I'm English, I'm Scottish, I'm Welsh, I'm American, I'm Canadian. That's a problem. That, and this guilt has only been put on white Western countries. White, and although Australia is not uh, geographically in the West, but it's still it's still a white Western country. It still suffers that problem, whereby being pro your in group is uh, akin to being fucking some radical person. It's just not. It's just not good. It, you know, uh, we
well,
have
it,
we have created a monster.
it wasn't that long ago that if you wanted to play cricket for Yorkshire, you had to be born in Yorkshire, and that's
Yep.
gone out of the window now. I don't know how it is in Northern Ireland or Ulster, but
Uh,
with your, well, I would say, well, it is a national team. Ulster it would be a national team, isn't it?
well, oh
No, but then you have hurling, don't you?
no, well, here's the thing: the Ireland cricket team existed before partition, so Ireland still has a cricket team. Northern Ireland does not. So anybody that is playing international cricket from Northern Ireland is playing for Ireland. In the same way that Ireland rugby has, there's no Northern Ireland rugby team. Anybody's playing international rugby from Northern Ireland's playing for Ireland.
You know,
Uh,
the first the first rugby match I ever went to at Twickenham in London was England versus Ireland, and it was a great game. I forget. I think England won. I'm not quite sure, but the, we were sitting there with the Irish next to us, you know, in the stadium, and we all got along so well. There was no fighting, and then we went to the bar afterwards, and you know, enjoyed a drink together. It was enjoyment of the game. It wasn't like one side against another in terms of the fans.
Rugby is very like that. Uh, and the other thing is, well, here's the interesting thing: if you go to England versus Ireland, even at a football match, the fans will in general get on because the majority of the fans are the people from down south who do not at this stage have this visceral hatred of the English. That's reserved for the Northern Irish who are a totally different fucking batch of people. Uh, it's very strange, but there's a small subset of the Irish people that are just very anti-English, anti-British, uh, and the 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 Irish from down south don't get on with Irish from Northern Ireland, as can be seen by the fact that there's fights at uh, Derry City. That 1 second, I need to cough. Derry City football team that play in the Irish League but are located in Londonderry. Uh, there are fights between the Derry City fans and whatever team that comes up from the Republic of Ireland. Actually, it's just called Ireland now, but they make it, you know, they don't get on with the other Irish people because the other Irish people think that they're fucking nuts.
Well, I'm not. I'm not surprised. I did once go on a rugby tour to Dublin, and we ended up in a pub, which was definitely an IRA pub. There was no
Right.
doubt about it because we had so much stick, you know, just from being English. You know, they didn't know we were a rugby club, and I mean, quite luckily for us because we were all together, so we could defend ourselves. But yeah, we left that pub fairly shortly.
Yeah.
Suffice to say.
Yeah. It's always quite interesting whenever you end up somewhere like that. Yeah. You suddenly realize you're in the wrong place and it's time to leave.
Well,
Yeah.
it's life experience for you do.
Yeah, it is. Right.
Anyway, look, 5-1. We better let you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap this up. Nobody else has jumped in. I'm going to get myself some sleep. But thank you very much for coming on, Rory. As always, an absolute pleasure.
Well, it's always it's always a pleasure for me as well. 42. Thank you. And thank you to the chat and all the
Yes.
comments. I haven't been reading all of them, but there's been a few interesting ones.
And I'm going to pull up the outro.
Okay, I'll hop out now then.
Okay. All the best, and thank you very much.
All the best to you, too.
The outro, surprise, surprise, is going to be Harmony, Melody, and Rhyme by Justice Kane, featuring 42. I can see that being the outro for quite a while. And I will put your comments up on the screen. Helps if you actually get as far as presenting the screen. Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, Sean? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. From that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing world. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. To stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realised you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can't perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. We create large society through family golden tribe. The gods of water, air, and land brought us through a line. The earth, the moon, the sun, each became a deity in the parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just sublime that we now bring you excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realised you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream, and we shall walk this journey together. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. I have been 42. You in the chat have been fucking amazing as usual, and I will see you all next week. Good night. God bless. Catch you on the flip side.